Howdy, and welcome back to the Plutarch Project podcast. This is episode numero dos of our short form podcasts, Resonare Restratationes, or Echoes of Illumination, a brief illuminating look at a piece of literature, history, or philosophy to fill the gaps between our longer form podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe and share if you find yourself picking up what we're putting down. Today, we'll be focusing on a short piece by Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American essayist, poet, lecturer, and leader of the Transcendental movement in the 19th century. Now, if you think you are a good writer, check out this cat's work. The way he bends the English language to his poetic will sends shivers down my spine and knocks my socks right off. Gone forever. We will only get a short taste of it here today, but seriously, this guy is nothing short of amazing. And as an added bonus, a lot of his work can be found online for free. Take a look at our transcripts for a few links with his work and a bit of a bio to get started. Today's excerpt can be found in one of his most popular essays, Self-reliance. Before we jump into his words, let's take a second to consider ourselves and the role we play in the larger systems of human cooperation. Let's ask ourselves, where do we reside? What laws and ideas are considered quote-unquote common sense? What shared identity do we have to those who also reside within a common system? Where do these ideas come from? And, most importantly, are we forging our own path, or are we walking upon the ground tread and flattened for us by those who came before? Now, let's put those questions on the back burner for a spell and jump into Emerson's words. Near the end of the essay, Emerson notes that, quote, "Society is a wave. The wave moves onward, but the water of which it is composed does not. The same particle does not rise from the valley to the ridge. Its unity is only phenomenal. The persons who make up a nation today, next year die, and their experiences with them." Unquote. People often see society as some other entity. They will say things such as, "It's society's fault," or "It's just part of who we are," or "just part of who they are." But in fact, society is literally all of us. A jigsaw puzzle is composed of pieces, and we, the people, compose society. Some of us are a bit more rounded or jagged than others, but when we put in the proper place, the picture becomes clear. Although we are part of this larger picture, everything, and I mean everything, is in a constant flux. We are the wave. But the individuals in society, the particles in Emerson's words, are constantly moving about, coming and going, regardless and often unaware of the wave's path. We in the post-Enlightenment era are constantly building upon those who laid the path before us. Although this time is ours, it's not too long before we meet the reaper and are replaced by those trying to find their own way in this wavy, beautiful mess of existence. They too will find themselves depending upon those who laid the seeds of the succulent fruit that they will enjoy. Since we are all in the same situation, it is no great leap to see that our thoughts turn not outward toward the wave and how we can influence it, but rather toward our fellow citizens and what they do or don't have. Emerson continues, quote, "Men have looked away from themselves and at things so long that they have come to esteem the religious, the learned, and civil institutions as guards of property, and they depreciate assaults on these, because they feel them to be assaults on property. They measure their esteem of each other by what each has, and not by what each is." Unquote. Keeping up with the Joneses, or Kardashians, keeping up with the Kardashians for any younger folks listening out there, relying on the man or big brother to take care of you and look out for you, relying on religion for hope or institutions for guidance has led society to forget that we are just talking animals trying to make sense of the situation we find ourselves in. And we have come to rely on these things to frame the world in which we live. But Emerson, one among a long line of thinkers before him, proposes that these things are empty, useful in dealing with each other perhaps, but void of the meaning we are seeking. Something that, quote, perpetually renews itself wherever the man breathes, unquote. What is it? To put it simply, it's yourself. A healthy reliance upon your own abilities and ideas to forge your way through life. Emerson, quoting Caliph Ali, writes, quote, "Thy lot or portion of life is seeking after thee. Therefore, be at rest from seeking after it," unquote. Emerson notes this trend in politics. We believe that growing in numbers makes us stronger, and perhaps we are right in some areas, but not when it comes down to the individual level. The wave will move regardless. But what about you? That teeny tiny particle of water inside? Will you continue to wander aimlessly through the sea? Or will you forge your own path toward the shore? Emerson continues, quote, "Ask nothing of men, and in the endless mutation, thou only firm column must presently appear the upholder of all that surrounds thee. He who knows that power is inborn, that he is weak because he has looked for good out of him and elsewhere, and so perceiving, throws himself unhesitatingly on his thought, instantly rights himself, stands in the erect position, commands his limbs, works miracles, just as a man who stands on his feet is stronger than a man who stands on his head," unquote. All along, the answers have been residing within us. We build upon the knowledge, experiences, and ideas of those before us. But our path is our own, and once we have realized this, we can begin to utilize our own innate power to push ourselves in the direction of the best of all possible outcomes. Why search the mountains and aisles of the local supermarket for something already inside of you? You already have something that can be explored every moment, every day, every year for an entire lifetime, and still, it will be mostly shrouded from our conscious observation. The great wealth of your existence is already inside of you, and, day by day, it grows ever richer. Emerson notes, quote, "So, use all that is called fortune. Most men gamble with her, and gain all, and lose all, as her wheels roll. But do thou leave as unlawful these winnings, and deal with cause and effect, the chancellors of God? In the will work and acquire, and thou hast chained the wheel of chance, and thou shalt sit hereafter out of fear from her rotations," unquote. By relying on your nature, using the world that you have helped to build inside of you, the highs and lows of life can no longer chain you to the wave. You'll be free from the tide, and free to make your own way through this world. Emerson leaves us with one last thought, noting that the good things in life are prepping you for even more bliss. But he warns, and quote, "And you think good days are preparing for you. Do not believe it. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles," unquote. Trust yourself and be free of the chains of the wave. Rely on yourself and find yourself basking in the rays of your own sunshine. So, let's ask ourselves the same questions from before. Where do I reside in this world? What institutions, laws, and ideas am I chained to? What shared identity do I have to those who also reside within this common system? Where did these ideas come from? And, most importantly, am I forging my own path? Or am I simply relying on the wave to bring me to where I think I need to be? Well, let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for listening, and as always, onward! If you enjoyed this podcast, share, like, subscribe, dance, compose an ode for the ages, or whatever, something like that. Don't forget to check out the transcripts for extra useful links, fun articles, more podcasts, pictures of Godzilla. Who knows what you're going to find? Just take a gander. Thanks for listening, and good day!